Episode 2, Celebrate Uncertainty, Transforming Insecurity into Excitement. Welcome to Episode 2 of Happy Mind Travel, where I talk about why uncertainty in life is a gift and how to transform your insecurity into excitement. Happy Mind Travel is an inspiring podcast for you to discover the power of psychology-based practices and spiritual exercises across time and space, helping you gain mental strength and making your life happier. We know we want to be happy, but how? Happy Mind Travel is here to provide you those tools and knowledge about happiness and genuine reviews of every resource we cover here, so you don't have to frantically digest every resource you find and feeling insecure to use them at the same time. As always, we hunt for the materials and it's on your part to implement those strategies. And enjoy to be happy. Hey folks, I'm your host Pauline. Thanks for joining me again in Happy Mind Travel, where we visit free and practical psychology tools to make you happier every week. Last time we talked about dealing with anxiety in the SAM app. I hope you really have some fun practicing with that and find it useful to manage your anxieties. Today, we're doing something different. We're entering into a special session called Spiritual Talk, where I will take you along me to explore some of life's most discussed and most wanted spiritual topics. I intend to do Spiritual Talk every other week. So the plan is like this. You will learn one new psychological tool one week, and then we'll go through a spiritual topic the next week, and then back to talking about psychological tools again. And in every spiritual talk, be ready to ask yourself some questions and reflect deeply on the specific topic. It's not merely learning a new technique anymore, but rather to integrate what you hear from this show into your existing spiritual beliefs and life attitudes. It would be best if you listen to the episode of Spiritual Talk more than once in order to know more about your life attitudes, and which would definitely impact you in your present time and in the future. Let me know if you like this structure or not, and you can always give me feedback. Shoot me an email at pauline@ourhappymindtravel.com. The more you get involved with this topic, the more value you will get from this episode. So are you ready for today's adventure, Happy Mind Travelers? Let's start our Happy Mind Travel. Explore with you one topic that would possibly draw the biggest fear in you, and that is uncertainty. So first of all, what is uncertainty? When it comes to understanding a concept or a theory, I tend not to give a definition because what's more important is what does society impose on you. What's more important is how you perceive and feel about it. So let me ask you a couple of questions now. Do you know what will happen tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock a.m.? What will you be doing tomorrow in your office? Do you know what you will become in life, say 5 years later? Do you know who's going to come into your life 2 months later? So what's your answer to those questions? If you feel certain about your answers, or if it's routine, then it's certainty. Or at least 90% certainty. But when you're unsure about that, or you simply have no clue at all, that's uncertainty in life. And for the most part in life, it's uncertainty. It's just the nature of it. It's just the nature of life. To be honest, I'm still learning how to deal with uncertainty every single day of my life. Challenges of uncertainty comes to me almost every day. It might be a trivial matter of whether the food in that restaurant I'm going to tomorrow will satisfy me. Or it might be a life-changing decision, maybe a career change that I have no idea where it would lead me to. And that feeling of uncertainty really sucks. What's worse than the feeling that you feel clueless about your own future, and at the same time, you can't really do much about it. But that's life illusion. One of my beliefs in life saves me a lot, which is everything happens for a reason. And at some points in life, you will know why it happens. And by saying why it happens, I do not mean what causes it to happen or what factors make it happen, but rather, what's the reason for it to happen? What impact it has on you afterwards? You might not know it today, you might not know it tomorrow or next week or even next month. When time comes, you will know. And I will talk more, just a little bit of my experience on uncertainty, how I deal with uncertainty later in this episode. But first, I want to share a quote and a metaphor about uncertainty that truly inspires me. So here's the quote. Don't call it uncertainty. Call it wonder. Don't call it insecurity. Call it freedom. This is from the famous spiritual leader in the 1990s, Osho himself. He said, if anyone had a life that is certain, or if anyone thinks that he has a life that is certain, then he is dead. And that's so true. Life is supposed to be flexible. You won't know what will be going on or who will be coming into your life, and that doesn't bring you insecurity. That actually brings you excitement and the freedom to act upon them. And what I learned from Osho teachings is that it's because something is uncertain that we could have the chance to do something about it, to change its course, change its path, and expect diversions from it. Yes, it's uncertain, and yes, it kind of sucks. But also, yes, you can then change about it. Your actions might change its path, and that's the beauty of our actions and our free will. I don't know if you have played any virtual video games before, but you might know about it. When The Sims is released, a simulation game, so many people love this game, and it's so popular among the virtual games, and it still is now. In case you haven't played that before, it's a simulation game where you can create people with specific personalities, horoscopes, clothing, preferences in life, and you can even create their dream house, the decorations in it, the furnitures in it, and even determines the people that create how is their career path, what they're gonna do. Are they gonna be a robber? Are they gonna be a doctor? Are they gonna be a journalist? And also their relationships, who are they gonna be with? And almost every decision you could possibly think of in your life. But there are, of course, limits. All those decisions you make about them are based on the already existing sets of data. It gives you the freedom to choose, but there's a set blueprint. You cannot go beyond that. And that is just like our life. We don't know what combinations of life or choices we make will lead us to what kind of life. We'll never know. But we got one thing in life that could ease off our uncertainty, and that is actions. Your actions might not change the entire thing, but it certainly will make changes in your life. Without this freedom to take actions, you better be more frightened than being uncertain about life. I always say this to myself, and it kind of becomes my motto now. Destiny is the blueprint of our course of life, but it's only a blueprint. Remember that, it's only a blueprint. It doesn't represent our actions. Our actions are based upon our free will. So the biggest lesson here is, yes, uncertainty is here, but so does our free will to take actions. Now, I want to share with you my recipe of how to transform insecurity into excitement. It's a simple 3-step or 3-rule method that works for me, and you could also incorporate them to your own method to make it work better for you. Okay. First, step 1, never assume. 'Cause seriously, you don't know. When you feel uncertain about something, your brain will then start thinking about different scenarios regarding the issue you're uncertain about, and gradually thinking becomes worrying. It occupies most of your time. You can't even sleep and eat properly. And the worst part is you can never reassure yourself because you never can prove what you're thinking about is true or not. The guessing game of the brain towards uncertainty is dangerous. So my number one rule is never assume anything you couldn't prove, because seriously, you never would find out the answer to that. And that just creates more worries, which it would be hard for you to handle after. Stop the guessing game when you feel it's getting viral. It's normal to guess a bit, but not to this extreme. Be adaptive in your thinking. And here comes rule number 2. Try every possible method and let it flow afterwards. So, okay, uncertainty is here. Insecurity is here. And what can we do about it? Whatever the circumstances are, there are at least some methods and actions I could do. If you're uncertain about your life, about what your career is in the future, what your career will be in the future, then set some goals for yourself. Write down your visions for yourself and be committed to them. They might not lead you to your desired destination, but certainly you would have attained some achievements in your life, which you might be least expected and happy about when you reach that moment. And if you are uncertain about a situation or a relationship, then do something about it. Instead of just sitting around and worrying all day, you can at least make a call to that person if you can, change your plans about the situation, or simply ask for others' advice. And after you've done things you could possibly think of at that moment, just let it flow. Let life unfold itself to you at its own pace. Trust that life will reward your efforts or actions when you least expect it to, and make reviews of your actions at later points in life to alter your plan again if you want. It's just the law of attraction, or if you will, the rules of the universe. And it works when your heart and mind is calm with the issue you're uncertain about, as calmness is the most receptive state to accept changes in life. You long for something in your heart, do something about it, and then just let it flow. And one day it will return with its gift. Number 3, and it's the last one, is to engage in spiritual practices. For example, for me, I use tarot reading. And now this part is the most exciting and powerful for me, that is seeking spiritual guidance. You don't need to have a religion for that, but if you do, the spiritual ritual specific to your religion will work better for you. It could be asking for advice through prayers, through meditation, or through speaking to the universe. And not just speaking to the universe, you gotta listen to its response. It could also be using your instincts or just flipping a book and stop at a random sentence on a random page to see what the universe responds to you, what it says to you. As long as you believe in it, it will work. For me, I seek guidance from drawing my tarot cards, and I don't just draw cards to predict the future. And I really want to stress this because many people use tarot to predict the future, and there's no one to blame here. I use that as well, but remember, tarot is somewhat acts as your advisor, as your guidance. So I use it more of a transformational tool for myself. I think it's more than predicting the future. I actually ask for advice, ask for what I could do in a situation, because once again, after we get some hints about our life blueprint, we need to take actions and not wait upon what life has to throw back at us. We need to be proactive to make things happen. And I use tarot primarily as a spiritual tool for personal transformation, to get life advice and to know better about myself. Often when I ask for the development of uncertain events in life, the cards will show me what I could do instead, revealing my fears or weaknesses so I can move forward to improve myself to get better results. And also I use tarot as a healing tool, as a map for understanding my life and myself, my character, my personality. Every time I got some motivation and guidance from the cards that I have never thought of in my life. Now, many people come to me and ask me to predict their future using tarot, but I always said what's more important is using it as a personal transformational tool, because you don't just want to know about what will happen. There's no use. They come to me wanting to change their life or to change the situation. So if you learn the world of tarot, if you learn the lessons behind each card, it's so much more powerful than merely knowing the near future. And one point to note is, if you feel like tarot is not for you, it may not be for you, then there are other options. There are actually many options like angel cards, Osho Zen cards, which is based upon the concepts of Buddhism. Oracle cards based on different themes. Some are on Christianity, some on Greek mythology, and some are on other religions. So no matter which spiritual method you choose, the main point is listening to what God or the universe or your higher self is trying to let you know. Take their life advice and go on with your life with actions. Okay, so let's wrap up the 3 steps for dealing with uncertainty. Number 1, don't assume, because seriously, you don't know. Number 2, try every possible method and let it flow afterwards. Number 3, engage in spiritual practices to seek life advice. Now, I want to share my story of dealing with uncertainty, which just happens, I believe, a couple of weeks ago. Now, just a couple of weeks ago, I have this dream. I was asking people around me whether they still remember who my long-lost friend is. And then someone, I don't recognize their face. I don't remember it, actually. Someone come into my room saying that, oh, your friend may not remember you anymore. And then it just ends. The dream ends here. It's just a 30-second dream, but I really have strong feelings about that. And this dream just reminded me of my long-lost friend, which I haven't seen for over a decade. She's actually my childhood friend. We haven't met long. It's just a couple of months. But we were very close friends back then. It all went well until one day she told me she had to leave for New Zealand, for another country. So since then, we're living in different countries, and the only channel to communicate was to write to each other. No Facebook, no WhatsApp, no Skype back then. It's not that easy. She has given me her address and phone number, but looking back, I think I was just too young and I didn't even write her a letter. When I was in my 11th grade, I started using Facebook. And to my surprise, my friend in New Zealand added me on Facebook and wrote something on my wall. I think we did exchange some words at that time. And I said, if she ever comes back for a visit, do tell me. And so time passed by, and I guess both of us were just so occupied with our own lives that we didn't contact each other. But once in a while, I will go into her Facebook page to see how she's doing. And here comes the uncertainty part. Though I sometimes go into her page, I don't really know how she's doing because she seems not that kind of person that uses Facebook much, and I don't see any picture of her after she's grown up. But that's okay. I don't use Facebook much either, and as long as she's there, I can reach her anytime. That's what I thought back then. And so a few years have gone by again, and one day, I looked into her page again and just found that she has already deactivated her Facebook account. And seriously, I don't feel much emotions at that time. I only felt so strange, because I'm not a tacky person, and I don't know what that function means. And I gradually forgot about that again, as I'm facing some critical moments in my life at that time. So seasons come and go over and over again until last week. I got this dream reminding me, yes, you have lost touch with your friend. Do you still remember her? So after I woke up, I felt this urge to find whatever she has given me before she left for New Zealand. I found her letter to me with her address and phone number in New Zealand, but after so many years, I guess she might have moved, and actually I just Googled the address that she gave me, and some property site show up, and it did show that the house has been sold several times. So I went back to Facebook. It was still deactivated. I searched through Twitter, Instagram, and other social media platforms. Nowhere to be found. And I Googled her name. That was, Google was such a powerful tool, and that was the only thing that I could think of at that time. I Googled her name, and surprisingly and unexpectedly, I found her from a university page with her photo on it. And, at that moment, it was just so strange because I recognized her from the second I saw that photo. But it's not her. It's not really her in my memory because I've never known how she looks after she's grown up. And in my memory, she is still that little girl that I played with so long ago. So I tried every method that I could think of. I emailed her university, both her faculty and alumni department, explaining my situation to them and my desire to find my long-lost friend. Lots of uncertainties at that moment. Before they even reply, I asked myself a lot of questions like, first of all, will the university even reply me? Because I'm not enrolling into their program and, they just don't have any reason to reply me. And second, will they treat me as a stalker or someone strange? And will I ever be able to contact her again? And what adds to these worries is that I started to question why I'm doing all these things to find her. It's over a decade. You don't know how this person has changed. You haven't talked since for how many years? For 10 plus years, I think. You haven't talked to that person. You haven't contacted that person for 10 plus years. So you don't know about her. And the feeling is just so strange. It just feels like, we are friends, but we're not actually. I don't know if you really resonate with that feeling, but that's just how I feel about this whole situation. But sometimes, we just get lost during our quest for something. In the process, you just lost yourself. You forgot why you're doing this. And you even question yourself sometimes. But Happy Mind Travelers, at this point, I really want to say, you just gotta let these worries and your thoughts flow. But not let it grow. Remember, let it flow, not let it grow. I'm fortunate enough to receive replies from both departments, and they're actually very helpful and empathetic to my situation. One of them, the faculty department, actually helped me forward my message to her through email, but there hasn't been a reply. I will never know if she ever checked her university email, if she ever received it and saw my message. There are just too many possibilities and uncertainties in this situation. And gradually all those thoughts turned into worries in a few days. It was awful. It was a painful experience, not knowing what to do. And the searching process is not as easy as I've talked about here. And even finding her registered name in the university is harder than I thought. But luckily, I got this figured out with lots of support and help from my other childhood friends, which I'm still in contact with. And then one day, the alumni department replies me also. I told them that I only wanted to know if my friend is doing all right in New Zealand. I'm worried about her. And I just want to get my letter delivered into her hands. I asked them how this could work out and do me this huge favor. And I'm so grateful to that staff because she has promised me to try her best to find out if my friend is okay and to arrange the delivery of my letter to her. So the staff has actually helped me phone her, a couple of times, but it seems that, she didn't answer her phone, or that's just an outdated phone number. And then the staff has helped me also to send her another email from the alumni department and send her a mail straight to her address, straight to her home. And we're still waiting for the reply now. And actually, today, at this point when I'm recording, I actually contacted her through LinkedIn. I don't know how many people check their LinkedIn, but I really gotta try this. Because I know that's really her. And if one day she just wants to check in her LinkedIn and update her information, then update her credentials, then she will see my message. So I gotta try. I contact her through LinkedIn, and I have called her landline phone number in New Zealand, which she has given me back in, well, that's over a decade, back in childhood. I called there. A person just answered my call, but she said there's no such person. So she's probably changed her phone number, and she's probably have moved also. That's for certain. And I'll let you know later. I'll let you guys know later whether I really find my long lost friend in later episodes. But what I really want to share here today is how I deal with uncertainty in this situation just before I decided to send my friend a letter. I mean, I've gone through a lot of struggles, and my biggest fear and uncertainty is that has she seen my letter and chose not to reply, which is my biggest fear? Has she even gotten my email? Shall I send my letter by post to her after the email? Shall I wait for some more days? How will she feel when she sees my letter? And what has she gone through all these years? And many more questions in my head that you could possibly think of, but no matter what, they all got one common feature. That is, I would never know the answers at this moment. And there won't be a concrete answer for that unless I have some expansive abilities to mind read people. So at this point, I'm aware of my guessing game, of my worries, and I just stop it. I want no regrets for my life. And that's all. Before I took any actions, I seek spiritual guidance from the tarot. I draw 2 cards, asking for advice about whether I should send her my letter and how will she feel after she sees it. And I'm not actually going into detail of which cards I'm drawn because it's not the point here, but the 2 cards are encouraging me to contact my friend again, to take action. I know there are lessons behind the cards, and they said, go over it. The keyword from one of the cards is even take action. So I know at this point, maybe for my life, for my personal transformation, it may not be that important. I mean, it's important to me, but maybe life wants to say to me that I need to take some risks in life. I need to change my personality. So I know I have to take risks this time in my life. I have to steer it in my way, choose my actions, and do it. And that says a lot about myself. And all these things I have done to reach my friend are things that I won't usually do in my life. And in this whole process, I learn more about myself, my weaknesses, and I transform them into my strengths. And I improve my strengths even further by doing it in a skillful and organized way. By writing the emails to staff, by contacting different parties which I'm not familiar with, by trying to reach out to my childhood friends again, to reach out to other people that might be still in contact with her on Facebook. That's just so not me, but I gotta change it. So I improve my strengths further. I overcome my emotional barriers, and I take wise advice from life. I reflect upon my whole lifestyle and work and make positive changes to it. So you see, there are lots of uncertainties in life, but always make possible moves. Trust your instincts and where the universe takes you to. Everything happens for a reason. I transformed myself on my way finding my long lost friend through times of uncertainty. And you could too. Remember the 3 steps I have talked about? Apply them to your life, and someday you will know why that specific event happened. And what does all these uncertainties mean? What does all these uncertainties mean to you and your life? Uncertainty will always be there because life is full of uncertainties, but you could choose to moan over it or to take actions to respond to it. You know, it's all about your choice. And I want to end this episode with a quote from Stephen Pressfield in his book, The War of Art. And here comes the quote. Is like the universe a way of testing you? Do you really want this? Well, I'm going to put some failures in you and let's see how bad you really want this. That's so true. That's just so true about life. When you aim to do something, when you really want to achieve something, whether it's a relationship, whether it's issues of career, issues of yourself, your personality, or of a particular situation, when you really want that thing, then the universe will respond to you, will give you the challenges, the failures that might push you away from that thing, might push you away from your goal, your original incentive. And the challenge just comes, and you need to overcome it. You need to take yourself to another level, transform your whole life, transform your whole personality, or just part of it, and respond back to the universe. You really want this. You have the power to change this for yourself, for your own sake. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I really hope that you learn how to deal with your uncertainties, and please share with me about your uncertainties as well, and how do you cope with it? Let's learn from each other. If you're already seeing a medical advisor, counselor, or therapist, discuss this episode with them. Always consult a professional when you think your situation needs one, and discuss your concerns with them. Treat this as a self-help tool, a practice to deal with your uneasiness with uncertainty. I do hope that the 3 methods, the 3 steps, and my experience to help you embrace uncertainty and how to learn to deal with it. If you have any questions about this topic or have any feedback on this show, you can email me at pauline@ourhappymindtravel.com. We have all that covered here today in the show notes on ourhappymindtravel.com/celebrate uncertainty. I would love to see your comments and see how you cope with your uncertainty. Know what you think on the show notes of this episode at ourhappymindtravel.com/celebrate uncertainty. Once again, is happymindtravel.com/celebrate uncertainty. Now give yourself some time to settle down with this topic before we travel to another one next week. Until then, happy mind travelers, take it one day at a time and enjoy to be happy. Peace.